Well, yes, I'm Victor Dominello. I'm the data architect. I'm Minister for Finance, Property and Services. And my ideal referral is somebody who lives in Ryde and votes. So if you live in Ryde, put your hand up. I'll shout you a coffee because you're going to be my favourite person in the room. Can I begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of our beautiful land and pay my respects to the elders both past and present, and thank you for this opportunity. This is my first time to BNI. I didn't realise how big you were. It sounds like a cult in many ways. Like the way that you've only got 15 seconds or 20 seconds. What's it sound like when I get to 15 minutes, Jeff? That's it. Okay. 15 minutes, I shut up, and more importantly, I get questions from you, because that's what this is most importantly for me. I need to hear from you as to what your concerns are, where you think the government should be going. You and I have something very much in common. That is, the most important person in your life is your customer. The most important person in my life is our citizen. And what I've got to do is make sure that my citizen, in brackets, your customer, is really happy. Because if you've got a happy customer, you've got a very good business. If I've got a happy citizen, I get re-elected. So it's a really simple equation. But how do we do that? Well, there's a number of things that we can do. Obviously, provide good government. But at the epicentre of any good government is service delivery. And it's no different to businesses. And we've set up Service New South Wales. Who's heard of Service New South Wales? And I assume many of you would say, good? Yeah. Well, if you said good, well, you're part of probably about 97% of people that say thumbs up for Service New South Wales, which is extraordinary positive feedback. I think if any business went out there and said, I've got customer feedback, or customer satisfaction of even 90%, you'd be doing handstands. So 97% for Service New South Wales is pretty amazing. And the fact that it's coming from government is almost miraculous. But I'll walk you through that in a moment. But what underpins Service New South Wales is not so much the shop front and the beautiful people that greet you at the door and say, welcome, how can we serve? But it's actually the digital and the data architecture behind it, because we measure everything at Service New South Wales, because we know that if we measure things, we can manage things. So I give lots of keynote speeches, whether it's to the IT sector, to the finance sector, and during these speeches I say, look, if you really want to live in the 21st century and work and thrive in the 21st century, you've got to be connected digitally. And people say, well, how do you go about this digital transformation? Because I'm literally leading the government on digital transformation. And I give them 10 Ds of digital transformation. I'll quickly run through them for you, and then I'll give you a show and tell on how we actually put that into practice, and hopefully you can pick up some clues. First D is obviously, D is for data. And I know there's some data people in the room. Again, come and see me, because I'm a data zealot. If you want to make any decision, it's got to be based on evidence, based on data. And good governments have to make decisions based on data. Unfortunately, though, there's a lot of bad governments that make a decision because they like the twinkle in your eye, or they got a gut feel or intuition. You can't do that. If we've got taxpayers' money, we've got to use that wisely based on data. The second D, digital. Now, if you like paper, do origami. But in the 21st century, you've got to go digital. That's as simple as that. The third D is it's got to be direct. When I mean direct, real time. No use having data, even in a digital format, if it is 2 years old. Now, I'll give you an example. Imagine if you were involved in a car accident, a traumatic incident, you go to the hospital, they hook you up to every machine, every wire known to mankind, MRIs, CTs, the whole lot. And imagine then if the doctor starts performing the surgery and all they had was an X-ray and an MRI that was a year old. You'd say, don't touch me, do not touch me until you find out what's happening in real time. And every time we make decisions in government and no doubt in business, you're making decisions that are critical, yet often we're basing that on information that is old. And again, that's good if you want to live in the past. But if you want to shape your future, you've got to get real-time information now. And again, I'll give you examples of that. The next D is it's got to be displayed. Now, we're a visual creature. We've got two eyes. We look at things. Even when we close our eyes and imagine, we see through our mind's eye. If we can't display all of this information in a digestible form, well, then it's meaningless. Now, unless you're a data scientist or an accountant that loves reading and absorbing numbers and spreadsheets, sure, that's great for them. But for the rest of us, mere mortals, we need to see things. So it's got to be displayed so we can get insights. And the next D, it's got to be dissected. That is, no use having pretty pictures, pretty dashboards, unless you get some insights and you drive something out of it. You do your analytics piece around it. And again, I'll walk you through what we're doing on that. The next D is the hardest D. It's DNA. It's got to be part of your culture. Now, what we've struggled with in government is changing the culture, getting people away from this and onto the digital platforms. We're moving much faster now, and I've got to admit, the first 2 or 3 years was difficult, but we are moving much faster now, and we're way ahead of every other state and territory in the land. The next D is I love this the most. It's the third D, the third dimension. Apple just released its new iPhone XS or 10S and 10R, but when it did that, it's you can see where it's moving. But Tim Cook of Apple said, what's exciting is the holograms and augmented reality, mixed reality. That's where we're going, the third dimension. And once we get to that level, seriously, this goes. If we're using this in 10 years, I'll be very surprised. We'll be seeing things through lenses and glasses and having holograms. We'll be having not augmented reality, not virtual reality. We'll be having mixed reality. And seriously, that will blow your mind if you have Google mixed reality, and you'll see how exciting this is. Scary, but also very exciting from my perspective. The next D is you've got to deliver. No use having all of this for us, your business, unless you deliver on the outcomes. Because otherwise, again, it's just an academic piece and you're wasting your time. And it's great for university, but not good for your business. The next D is critical, and it's defence. If in our world, in a digital world, we've got to make sure that cyber security is absolutely paramount. And if you do not recognise that in your business, then it will take you to the last D, which is you become a dinosaur. So they are the 10 Ds. Now let me show you how I'm actually putting that in real time, and this will no doubt come up. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is put this on Do Not Disturb, so you don't see any messages from my mum. And that will be very embarrassing. Notifications, this is always scary. Do Not Disturb, okay, thank you. I feel a little bit safer now. Okay, where shall we go? Can I also, my next party trick, who's seen a digital driver's license? Okay, we're about to see one. Let's have a look. Okay, that's me in my post-Columbian phase. I'm trying to bring back that look. But this is real. This is absolutely real. Last refreshed yesterday. It looks like it's see up the top there. Hopefully it gets through. See up the top, it's got fetching licences, and then you'll see the New South Wales government logo, and you can see the Waratah coming, up and back and forth. You can also see, I don't know. Well, I hope you can see. It's got a hologram, so you can see that it's real. There you go, and it's last refreshed today at 8:14. Now, what that means is I can download this because it belongs to me, but if I'm out of Wi-Fi range, well then the police will just simply go up there and scan the QR code and go back to base like you would with a normal licence. But we're moving, how fast we're moving. We're the first state in the country to do this, and in terms of this technology, I think one of the first countries in the world to have something like this. So it shows you how fast we're moving. We already rolled this out in Dubbo, doing another trial now in the Eastern Beaches, and then after the election, subject to the electoral gods, we roll this out big time next year. So everybody can get that. And you can also, age details, yes, I'm 51. When you have a look at all the grey hairs, you'll understand why. But that's good for pubs, clubs, etc., etc. But this is what we're doing. Now, what's some other things? Who's seen Fuel Check? All right, well, let me quickly, for those who like saving money, unless you're all super rich, and clearly everyone in this room must be. All right, here's Fuel Check. So this is an example. We're not talking about digital transformation and the 10Ds. This is an example. Getting data. I was a frustrated law student driving up Victoria Road in my Suzuki Sierra, and when I'd be going petrol station to petrol station thinking, how do I save money, because I need some money to travel overseas. So what I did is I said, wouldn't it be great one day if instead of basically going up and down the road looking for the cheapest price, I could actually see it on the phone, in real time. Hey, wouldn't that be a good idea? Hey, presto, 10 years later, I become Minister for Innovation. I've got some power. So I said, okay, I'm going to change the law. So I went into Parliament and I said, all right, I'm going to change the law. Petrol stations, do me a favour. You're already required to put your petrol prices on the front of the road. I'm now going to make sure that you do that in the 21st century, and you also put it on the phone. So we've designed a portal requiring petrol stations every time they change their price to tell me, the regulator, in real time. I've then opened all this data up to people like you so we can use it. Now, every time a petrol station changes their price on the side of the road, they've got 5 minutes to tell us. And this is what happens. I can have a snapshot of all the petrol stations, all in Sydney, pretty much. Let's have a look. You can download this. This is it. So there's something cheaper down there in Holroyd. But let's have a look here. That looks like it's $1.36.5 is the cheapest there. There's all these funny tools here we can use. So the Speedway, $1.36. If I go there, there's a whole lot of functions. More importantly, there's this thing here. See that? I can press that. Price mismatch, report incorrect address, whatever, because it means that every one of you that use this, they go to a petrol station that hasn't updated their price or whatever, you become my fair trading officer, which is brilliant. That data then goes, because I can't afford 1,000 fair trading officers, but hey, you're better than them. So that means that data goes back to base, and then we have regulators out there that will then pick up the phone and say, hey, I am from fair trading, why aren't you putting the correct price on your petrol? And there's a whole lot of other tricks and tools, but this is an example of using data to empower the citizen to make informed choices. And again, NRMA have said that if you use this, you could save up to $500 a year. The ACCC said this is the best thing since sliced bread. Well, actually they didn't, but they did say it is great for competition, which I really believe. So that is an example of what we can do. Now, let me show you in terms of some of my favourites. Let me see, who's got their green slip refund? Was it hopefully a good experience? Yeah? And if you paid your Regio in about November last year, you would have got about $120. If you paid it around March, April, May, like I did, you would have got about $20-30. So it's because of the scheme transfer. But basically, when I did this, and this is where it really relates to you and your business, the most important thing to me is, did you have a good experience doing this? Because if you have had a good experience, then I know I'm doing the right thing and we need to keep doing that out. If you don't have a good experience, then I need to know about it. Now, traditionally what would happen is, if you had a bad experience, eventually there'd be a number of people complaining, bringing up, blah, blah, blah. A bureaucrat would eventually get that. I'd eventually get a report 3-6 months later. I'd then do an independent survey or review. A year later, I might say, geez, we better fix this up. And a year is an eternity in 2018. So I said, no, I need to see this. I need to be at the shop front like you. And as the CEO of Myers recently said, he might be the CEO of Myers, but he's going to spend 2 days on the shop front because the most important person to him is the customer. Well, I'm the same. So this is what we've done, and this relates to every product that I've rolled out, every policy I'm rolling out. So in relation to green slips, where are we? Green slips, CTP refunds. So at the end of that process, you would have been asked thumbs up, thumbs down. And you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll just enlarge it. Have a look at that. 232,000 people have given us thumbs up. So when people go to an election and there's new news polls, they base that on an amount of about 1,500 people. I've got 232,000 sample size. So I know things are okay. In fact, they're very, very good. And I'm happy. So when a journo or when the opposition say to me, oh, we're not very happy, I'll say, well, you go and argue with 232,000 people because they're smarter than you. Now, and the facts, it's always good to argue when you've got facts on your side. I then go to the next stage. I say, well, look, I need to monitor thumbs up, thumbs down on a, not just a daily basis. I want to see how it's tracking all the time. And again, in real time. Let me just flick this around. Okay, so that's the graph. So you can see, and again, I'm trying to squeeze 1 percentage point or 0.5 of a percentage point. Any one of us would be happy with 94%. I'm trying to get it up to, the average, I'm trying to get it up to about 98.9. So this is real, the graph shows that we're sort of hovering at around I think it's the 98.4. And you can see it's starting to dip a bit when we had a massive surge of people online, so there could have been just more people or maybe a system crash. But the point is, I've got alerts on my phone that if there's too many of these and the average goes below, say, 92, I pick up the phone because I've got the alert, go to my senior bureaucrats and say, what is going on? But I go one step further than that. I say, before I say to my bureaucrats what's going on, I go to my CTP refunds feedback. Again, I love this. This is always dangerous because people are so honest. It's good, but trying to find it, not easy. Too much of the money gone to fees. Had to sign up with my service, New South Wales. Why spend... it's easy to read that. Why send me info to register? You could have just sent me a check. Waste of time. Great feedback. I love feedback. Now, the reason we don't send people a check is because if I sent everyone a check, then they'd be writing to me saying, why are you sending me a check in 2018? Then I've got to find a bank and bank it. Thank you, 15 minutes. So that's an example of what we're doing. But I then use that. I go further. I say, well, show me the negative sentiments around this, because I don't have time to read thousands of comments. So I've got some analytics around it. More, i.e. we want more money. Make it automatic, it's confusing, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, this is real time. I'm not getting this in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. This is, as you can see down the bottom, you can see down the bottom, I'll show you with the other one where it's updated, green slip price check, refund, whatever it is. See down the bottom there? Let's see if I can open them up, because this is really important. No, it doesn't show it on that screen. In the bottom left-hand corner, it's got data set last updated 5 minutes ago, and it's synced 1 minute ago. That when I tell you that we're in an operating theatre and you want real-time information, that's real-time information. So I can tell you right now if there's a problem out there and the citizen is not happy for some reason, I'm on top of it. Now, and this is where we need to be, quite frankly. But I'm about to go and address the Digital Council, which is something that it's a COAG. If you want a good idea to die, send it to COAG. But we're about to go to COAG, the Digital Council there, and I was speaking to a colleague, a Labor colleague from another state, nice guy, really nice guy, and he said, I showed him this and he said, wow, this is crazy. How the hell did you get this running so quickly? And I said, why, what do you do? And he said, oh, well, look, if we want to find out how our citizens are feeling in relation to a given product or a policy or whatever, we go and get CanStar to go and do a survey. We pay CanStar money, go and do a survey, get the general mood sentiment. That survey comes back to us. A, it costs us money, B, it takes us about 3 months, and C, we get this fluffy report that's really not that accurate, and then they might do some reviews around it. I'm not paying CanStar, as good as CanStar is. I'm getting feedback from you in real time that I can action very quickly. And this is using digital transformation to empower the citizen. But again, you could see how this would apply to you, to empower your business. Wouldn't you like apparently you go to Japan or to lots of restaurants around the world now, people are asked to give feedback after they have a meal. Why? Because you need to know about it. You need to know the steak was great, bad, service was good, bad, so you can then trim your sales accordingly and therefore improve your profit margin. I could talk forever about this, but I better stop because I'm getting close to the 17 or 18 minute mark, and I'd like to take questions from the floor if you wish, whether it's on digital transformation or data analytics. We set up a data analytics centre that really is the engine room behind all of this. And if you think this is exciting, subject to the graces of the good people of our state, you should see what is in store over the next 5 years. We are going to go from strength to strength here in terms of digital transformation. So thank you for listening and look forward to the questions.